Hey, this is JP Allen from Harmonica.com. So I made this cool little bending app for you to help you to learn not only whether you're bending or not, but to help you also to bend in tune. So that's one of the toughest things for beginning harmonica players. First of all is to know whether you're bending or not. Sometimes I have students who think they're bending, but they're not. And sometimes I have students who are bending, but they don't think they are. And so this tool is going to let you know outright, without any question in your mind, whether you're bending or not, and then it's going to let you know if your bends are in tune or not. So these are two really important things. So in this video, I'll explain to you why I think this is a better bending tool than the other ones that are out there right now. And I'm going to show you go over the features and then some prerequisites, and then we're going to go through a 7-level system you can use to help you learn to improve your bends. All right. So what makes the Bend It better than the other harmonica bending apps that are out there? And I should say it's not necessarily better, but the thing I love about it is, first of all, the design is super easy to understand. I think it's really good looking too. The coder friend of mine, Yoni, helped me really make it look really sweet. And it's got the minimum number of features, so it doesn't bog you down having to learn scales or theory. It's just specifically designed to help you learn to bend. But the number one reason I actually decided to put my time into making this app for you is because this particular app has something none of the other apps had, at least at the time I was researching, and also at the time I made this video, which is it has a tone generator. So what that means is that when you click a note, it'll play the note for you. So I don't know if you could hear me. I said when you click a note, it'll actually play the note. And you might say, well, big deal. But it actually is a really big deal, because what I found out is a lot of my students who would come over for my Hawaiian harmonica retreats, what we would have to do to get them to bend in tune is I would have a separate keyboard to play the note for them. And then once they heard the note and they could hear the note in their ear, then they were much likely to bend in pitch. So it was this really clunky process. I was using the other bending apps that were out there, but then I had to have a separate, what I call tone generator, to generate the pitch. And so this has it all built in, and I'll show you in a little how it works. And it has this really cool way of listening to your harmonica and not listening to the pitch that it's generating. So it actually tells you what you're playing if you know how to use it properly. And I'll show you how that works in a little bit. All right. So first, let's just quickly go over the features. All right. First, if you want this to work, you have to turn the on-off switch on. You have to turn it on. Okay. And so that's going to turn on a microphone. Now, on some of your apps, I think if you're using this on your phone, it's going to ask for permission. There's no problem with giving it permission. You can give it permission, and then once you give it permission to use your microphone, it's going to now start reading the notes. As you see now, it's picking up my voice in various places. Ooh, so that note I just sang was somewhere between a G and a G flat. Okay, so let me turn it off for a second. Okay, so the features. So here, if you have this selected, you're going to get a harmonica note. And if you select this here, you're going to get a tone, what is called a sine wave. So with the tone you're hearing right now, try to make it at least the same volume as the volume of your harmonica, or lower volume. Because if it's louder than the volume of your harmonica, it may interfere with the functionality of the app. And that also goes for the harmonica tone you heard just a moment ago. So that's the sine wave. I personally prefer the sine wave, and the reason I do is because it's a very pure tone. The app actually works slightly better when you use it, though you can, if you prefer the harmonica sound, feel free to use that as well. Now the last thing to go through is, if you haven't already figured this out, this is the 1 blow note, this is the 1 draw, 2 blow, 2 draw, 3 blow, 3 draw, and so on. So these are all the blow notes going across the top line, and all the draw notes unbent. Now the blue notes are the bent notes. So this is 1 draw unbent, and this is 1 draw bent a half step, the D flat note. 2 draw unbent is a G note, 2 draw bent a half step is G flat, and 2 draw bent a whole step is F, and so on. So these are your draw bends, and up here are your blow bends, the E flat, G flat, B, and B flat. Okay, so now let's talk about some prerequisites. First prerequisite is, I really encourage you to have at least one high-level professional harmonica. I'm not going to, there's lots of great options. A simple solution is you can just get a special 20 in the key of C, but there's plenty, as long as you're using a high-level professional instrument, that'll suffice. The second prerequisite is, if you're going to be using this bending app, you really need to have a solid, clear single note. In other words, if you can't yet play a solid, confident, clear single note, trying to learn how to bend is going to be very frustrating, okay? You need to do that. That's a first step, okay? And if you haven't yet learned how to play clear, solid single notes yet, then you'll love my Happy Harping system. And in that system, I teach you a particular kind of single. There's several popular single note techniques. The one I recommend and the one I teach is what I call either the half pucker, or I often call the deep relaxed embouchure. So if you've already learned that from me, you're good to go. And if you can, so using a half pucker or the deep relaxed embouchure, you need to be able to confidently stay on a single note. If you have a second note bleeding in because you're not hitting just the one single note, it's going to make it harder to learn to bend. Though it is possible, it's just one more strike against you, okay? Okay, now if you're an intermediate player and you don't know the half pucker and you like blues, you might prefer my breakthrough blues system, and we also concentrate on the half pucker in that as well. Okay, so those are two options for you to help you get ready to be able to use this app. Okay, so let's go through the 7-level system. Oh wait, there's one other thing I wanted to share. I highly recommend just picking one harmonica that you master. Okay, because every different harmonica, in other words, if you compare a C harmonica to a D harmonica, the tension in the reeds is different. So your bending technique needs to adapt slightly to the different tension in the reeds. And same thing, if you're using a C Special 20 versus a C Lee Oscar, they play and feel a little bit different. So I would say pick your best bending harmonica and use it. And of course, you can use this key change to, you can adjust to all the keys, the main primary keys. The reason that C is a good choice is because it's kind of in the middle. So any of those harmonicas that are toward the middle, C, Sonny Terry loved his B flat and B, D, but I wouldn't go too far out of that range for this learning purposes while you're learning to bend. Even though you might love your A harmonica or your G harmonica, which I love them too, I wouldn't use that. So to reiterate, what I'm saying here is pick one harmonica and master it for your bending. Like for mastering bending, just pick one harmonica and let that be the harmonica you use, because it's going to take time, it's going to take concentration, and it's going to take some tenacity and perseverance, and you want to make it as easy on your nervous system as possible. The subtle psychomotor skills involved, it'll just make it a lot easier than if you're jumping around from one key to the next, okay? All right, so now let's go through the 7-level system. Okay, so level 1, if you've already learned how to bend a little, you might already be able to do this. So it starts easy and it gets much more difficult as you go on. So level 1, all I want you to be able to do is to just be able to bend either a 1-draw bend or a 4-draw bend. And for this part, for level 1, you don't need to bend it in tune yet, okay? Level 1 is just being able to bend. Now, the goal is if you can get the note to go from the D and it lands anywhere in the D flat. So if you're playing 4-draw bend and you go from D and you land anywhere in D flat, you pass level 1, okay? You could do that with either 1-draw and 4-draw. And the reason I'm saying that, I'm saying 1-draw or 4-draw, is because, here, let me just refresh because it seems to be doing something here. There we go, it went away. Yeah, but side note, if the app ever stops working for you, just refresh. It'll help. And I think it automatically turns your mic off when you refresh. So let's see. It's on the on position now. I'll refresh. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it goes to the off position. So you have to turn it back on. So to reiterate now, sorry, I'm starting to ramble a little bit. But your goal is you pass level 1 if you can bend either 1-draw or 4-draw. And the reason why I say either or is because some of my students find that 1-draw is easier and some find 4-draw is easier. So you pick the one that's easier for you and focus on it. And so here would be, if I can go from D, and I can bend it down anywhere in the blue here to D flat. So I passed level 1. Okay, so level 2, what's the goal with level 2? To play any of your first 6 draw notes. So 1 draw, 2 draw, 3 draw, 4 draw, 5 draw, or 6 draw. If you get it anywhere in the blue area and you bend, once you can do all 6 of them, you pass level 2. So now you might be saying, well, what about 5 draw? That doesn't have a bent note. Well, let's check it out. So you see 5 draw actually does have a bent note. Well, then why isn't there a blue box? Because it doesn't go all the way to E. So it doesn't get a full box. But you did see how I could go from the F note to an E note. I just couldn't get it all the way in tune to E. So your goal is to get this F note to go up to an E note. And if you do that, you pass. If you can do it to all 6 notes anywhere, you pass level 2. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I setting up this way? The reason I'm setting up this way is because I've taught thousands of harmonica students, and I know that bending in tune is very difficult. And so your first goal is just to be able to bend a note. You know, don't worry, please, like, take my advice and take my caution here. It's going to take you time and patience to really start nailing your bends in tune. And I help you a ton with that in Breakthrough Blues. But it's going to take time and patience to do that, okay? And so you're going to need to be realistic. The first goal is just to be able to bend the notes. Okay, just to be crystal clear, with 3 draw, you can bend any of the 3 bent notes. If you hit any one of them, you pass level 3. And so why am I trying to make this so easy for you? The reason is, from my personal experience, you know, I picked up guitar and harmonica around the same time. And so I had a guitar tuner, and I noticed that the guitar tuner would pick up my harmonica notes. I said, oh, cool, I could use this to learn how to bend in tune. But what I found out is that I could bend the harmonica, but when I tried to bend in tune, I just couldn't do it, and I started getting really frustrated. And I decided to just drop it. And I kept playing harmonica for about a year, and of course, as I was playing over the year, my ear developed, and of course, my skill level in bending developed, and I went back. And I found out that over that year, just through a natural maturing process, I was able to start hitting the notes much more accurately without even having to try. And so I don't want you to get stuck in the position I was, where you start feeling frustrated and you feel like you can't do it. It's going to take, like I said before, it's going to take time and patience, okay? All right, so now level 3 we're going to say is, if you can play any of these below note bends, you pass level 3, okay? So basically, anywhere in the blue, you don't have to play in tune. So from levels 1 to level 3, essentially you pass all 3 levels when you can bend slightly any of the blue notes, but you don't yet have to play in tune. Okay, now we progress to level 4, and that's when we're going to start trying to bend in tune. All right? So with level 4, the goal is you're going to try to bend either 1 draw, 4 draw, or 6 draw in tune. Now pick the one that's easiest for you, and if you bend any one of those and you can bend it in tune, you pass level 4, okay? So pick the one that's easiest, focus on it, and now you're going to need to use the tuning device of this, you know, the tone generator, okay? So you're going to play the note. Let's say if I was going to do 4 draw, yeah, 4 draw. So 4 draw unbent D, 4 draw bent to half steps. Now what I want, before I even do this, what I want you to hear me do is I'm going to play the note, and I'm going to listen very carefully to the sound of the note, and I'm going to get the note, the sound of the note, in my imagination before I start playing. If you do that, your accuracy and your progress will skyrocket. If you don't do that, you're shooting in the dark. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but it becomes a complete, you don't want it to be completely a muscular activity. You want to use your ear and your imagination. And your ear and your imagination will tell the body what to do to get the note to play, if that makes sense. So your imagination leads. You got to, so that's the first thing I do is, step 1, in level 4, I play the note and I listen to it for a second until I anchor it into my imagination. Then I start to play. So watch me do this. Okay, just to make it the easiest for myself, I'm going to use 1 draw one draw unbent to one draw bent. And because one draw is easy because it's right on the end, right? So it makes it it's the easiest note to hit without having to hit other notes. And now I'm going to play the D flat note. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to anchor it in my imagination, and then I'm going to start playing. Listen. So you saw there that I was getting it somewhat, I don't know if you notice, it's gray. So gray means you're in tune, you know, when it goes from red to gray. And then blue means you're laser accurate. So blue's a hard level to hit. So for now, if you just get it to the gray area, consider that a success, okay? Make sure, please, don't make this too hard on yourself. The gray area is a success. Okay, so let's wrap up the rest of the levels because I kind of gave you all my cautionary tales. And hopefully I've given you some ideas that'll help you learn how to bend little by little. So now level 5 is that you'd be able to do all 3 of the notes 1, 4, and 6. So once you can do all of them and you can play them all in tune, you've passed level 5, okay? And then level 6, you want to be able to play either 2 draw bent a whole step, or 3 draw bent a half step, or if you like country music, 3 draw bent a whole step, okay? So basically you want to be able to play 2 draw bent a whole step, the F note, or you want to play 3 draw. If you like blues, it's got to be the B flat note. If you like country, you want to make it the A note. Just pick one of those notes and focus on it until you get it, okay? So same thing, you're going to have the same strategy where, let's say if I'm going 2 draw and I want to hit 2 draw bent a whole step, I'm going to play the note, I'm going to listen to it first, I'm going to anchor it in my imagination, then I'm going to go for it. So let's try that. So you might have noticed I was a little off at first, but then I tuned it right in, right? So that was cool, and it's good for you to see that I don't always nail my notes either, especially when I'm not fully in the game. Now I'm more interested in teaching you, and I don't really have my music. I don't have the music in me right now, if that makes sense. Okay, and then level 7 is just to be able to play all those blue notes everywhere, both the draw bends and the blow bends. So once you get up to level 7, you've got it. You can play all the bends. I would say if you can even just get to level 6, that's a huge accomplishment. Just to be able to play 2 draw bent a whole step in tune, or 3 draw bent a half step in tune, that's a huge success. All right, so I hope this app helps you a ton learn how to bend. I hope my instructions were helpful and give you kind of long-term vision for yourself over the years to come, how you'll keep improving yourself as a harmonica player and your ability to bend in tune. But remember what I said, even the out of tune notes can sound really cool and really bluesy, right? So watch here, I'll even prove it to you. So I'll play D flat, not quite on the money, but it'll still be really bluesy, right? Okay, so I did a good job of actually not playing in tune. I was playing a little bit flat, and it still sounded pretty good, right? Still sounded pretty bluesy. All right. Okay, so good luck with everything. Thanks a lot for checking out this video, and I hope to see you soon. Aloha. Bye.